Alright, hey, welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you stopping by. This is a Vaccinium pink lemonade. It's actually a blueberry. It's supposed to drop all of its leaves now, and it is also supposed to be growing in kind of a semi-cascade. Originally I planted this. This is kind of my tree form, and this was kind of my cascading branch. And these suckers grew over the summer. So yeah, I put this in the pot 2 years ago. And so today, I'm gonna pull it out of the pot. Check out what's going on with the roots. Hopefully maybe lift it up, raise it, expose a little bit of root, and put it back in this pot. So I'm gonna get started on that now. Check it out. I really like this part of bonsai. It's kind of like the reveal. You know, you don't get to see anything that's going on down here. And so it's always kind of cool to be able to work on that part of the plant. I'm just gonna try first to, I've got a nice taper to this pot, so I'm hoping that it'll just lift right out. I'm not sure I can worry a lot about getting really good radial roots when you're doing a semi-cascade style, because you are in kind of a deeper pot. Lots of fine roots on this. We're getting some rain here at BoneDry. We got just a little bit this morning, and supposed to get more this evening. It's holding off for tomorrow and Tuesday, and some cold, wet weather coming for the rest of the week. I'm not sure I'll be raising the tree out of the pot much by the looks of this. But I'll know better after I squirt it off with some water. Really get a look. I'm going to give this a squirt, and I'm going to take these out, and I'll take anything twisty. Like this looks like it's kind of twisting around, but otherwise, yeah, that's going to be a pretty quick little job on the Vaccinium. All right, so at this point in the process, I had actually left this little plant overnight. I had something come up on Sunday, the day I started the project, and it took me away. And so when I got back to this, I actually wasn't even thinking at that time I'd end up posting this video. But yeah, I thought better. I don't know. I like the little plant, and I know it's not typical. It's a blueberry, but I don't know. You know, when I spotted it at the big box store where I bought it, it just seemed like something I'd like to give a try. So yeah, I just am digging away here at these roots. I'm not real happy with what's going on with these roots. You know, you want on a windswept or a cascading type of a tree, you want some roots on the opposite side of the cascade to try and root the tree, give it a look of strength in the pot. And you see the roots that I've got on the opposite side of my cascading branch there are just really twisty, and I don't know if I'll ever end up with any real nice surface roots to be able to expose there, but yeah, they're kind of a twisted up mess. And being that it's planted in kind of a not shallow bonsai pot, they'll probably end up going down and doing whatever they want again. I mean, that's what plants do. They grow where they want. So yeah, I was just trying to twist there, and you see I broke off the root. I do think that it was the one that I ended up wanting to take off anyway. When you're doing this, at least when I'm doing this, I should say when I'm doing this, because I'm certainly not a teacher. I'm trying to find replacement roots for anything I take off, above or below, something that looks better. And this is just something that I'm learning, and I'm learning through watching others. So instead of spending so much time on those roots, obviously you can see I moved around and I'm working on some of the dead stuff. You know, this is, I think, a lack of confidence on my part. I have to spend a lot of time debating and looking and debating and looking, and so oftentimes I will go to the things that I know need to be done while I'm thinking and debating. So I knew this needed to be cleaned up around the base, looking, you know, kind of rottenish, but not rottenish. So I went ahead and just got back to that. Because, you know, the things that you know need to be done, or that you know in your mind need to be done, are things that you can do easily. Now here I am back again, studying roots, trying to figure out how I can untwist this mess and get something that kind of flows into the soil. I want, you know, what I'd like to have on the back side of this is some roots that kind of flow and that I can expose. But like I said, I'm not sure I'll get it. I also ended up taking quite a bit off of here, and so I did switch the pot that I was putting it in. I went with a little smaller, shallower pot. Now I'm all worried about my roots rotting now. You know, I was of the mindset that these trees wanted to be in soil where they could have plenty of room, and it just doesn't work that way. When it gets too moist, if the roots don't like to sit in moist soil, which most roots don't, then they have the possibility of ending up rotting. So taking some of those finer roots off, probably should have taken that big root back farther past that big twist, but again, it's probably a lack of confidence and not being sure. And I mean, you know, even those that have tons of confidence and have been doing this for years could likely take too much off and end up killing the tree. And again, you know, I with the tree style that I have here, I've got that cascading branch and then I've got that upright. Maybe I'm not needing as much of a that backside root strength. Maybe I should be really trying to establish roots on all the way around that I can expose. But you know, I'll take what the tree gives me, and next time I pull it out, we'll see what happens and what it looks like. So yeah, this is a little bit shallower of a pot there. You see the pot that I'm pouring soil out of now is the one that it came out of. And believe me, there's a lot of editing that goes on with this video and all my videos, and I really do end up cutting out a lot of just looking, turning and looking and turning and looking. I just am not there yet in knowing just exactly what to do. Here I'm thinking that I might be a little bit low, that maybe I can maybe get a little more out of the base of the tree, so just trying to raise it up a little bit out of the pot. And you know, watching these videos really helps me. I'm looking at, you know, that trunk of that main tree, that upright tree, and it's not by any stretch of the imagination straight at all. Maybe it'll correct, and because I don't think I want my cascading branch and my trunk both going in opposite directions. I kind of wanted that main trunk to be a little bit more straight, and maybe the next time I pot it, I'll be able to do that, but straighten it out a little bit and redirect that cascading branch. I'm also not sure I took the right branch off of that cascading branch. I maybe should have left that lower, more downward section and cut off those that kind of raise up a little bit there, but yeah, I did what I did, and hopefully this little blueberry will give me some choices in the future. And that's what you're always looking for. At least that's what I'm always looking for, is the future on these. I found a few bits of moss. I like moss. It was floating around in my soil pot, so I thought I'd throw a couple little patches on there just to help things get started. I like moss. Just cleaning up a couple of old pruning points there. And I did turn the tree in the opposite direction. I had the front with that cascading branch going to the right, but I kind of like the looks of this a little bit better, so yeah. Well, here's another oak. This is almost the last of my oaks that I pulled out of the ground last year. Yeah, one more that I'm doing, and the next video that I put out will have that last oak and also some still shots that I took of some really cool trees that are really growing in nature. So I'm looking forward to putting that video out. I just think the trees that I took the pics of are just amazing. But there I saved my big chunk of moss. So you see, yeah, we had some rain there. This was, I think, Monday. Yeah, it would have been Monday the 25th. I just can't tell you how pleased I am with the roots on these trees. How much root they put out since I put them in those pots. I don't know if I should have waited longer to do this work. I'm kind of thinking that maybe I should have, because what I've heard, and there's Callie in the background, she just has to lick water off of everything. Things that I've been watching and hearing, I'm getting ready to take this big nasty root off of here. That's gonna really reduce this root pile by quite a bit. But anyway, the things that I'm hearing and listening to and watching, you want to do your repotting and your root work when the buds start to pop on these trees when the weather gets warmer. And maybe I should have waited. My reasoning was, I dug these out of the ground in the wintertime. I put them in those pots in the wintertime, and in the spring they ended up doing this. So that's kind of why I did that. Now this is a look at the tree after I washed it. I really didn't take off any more roots, I promise. All the roots I took off I did include in this video. And you can see the base of that thing, that where I did cut it, it's just really calloused up and gnarly. So this one, again, I'm going to be able to lower the root plane and expose more trunk on it, which I'm pleased about. I know that lower trunk that's been sitting in soil, obviously it doesn't have the bark that the upper section does, but hopefully in time, with the sunshine and being exposed, it'll start tightening up. So yeah, I mean, you can tell, I mean, when you do a correction on some of these big roots that are going twisty, you take off, like, I mean, that one cut right there, and check this out. I mean, there goes like 60% of that root mass. Anything vertical. Looking for crossing roots, things growing at 90 degrees off of another one. Don't like the looks of that big one there, but I'm still scared to cut it. There's not a lot of root over there on that side. And I think that's what you're hoping for when you're doing this work, is you want to see, you'd like, if you have something that you need to correct, obviously roots above it or below it within your plane to replace it is what you're looking for. That's what I'm looking for. I felt like there was plenty to replace that one. And I don't know why it took me so long to chop that one that curves up, but I know it bothers me sitting here watching it. Anybody watching this is probably going, would you just cut that stupid root off, please? So there I kind of took one little swipe at it. tallest section. I was afraid to cut that off of the bottom. I would like to. I'd love to get this flat on the bottom. But I tried to air layer one of these oaks, and that's exactly what it did. It didn't grow any roots. Here I go at that one finally. I'm trying to get my cut so that the cut section is at the bottom, and hopefully get roots radiating out from that point. But again, like I said, I was trying to air layer one of these, and it did not grow any roots at all. All it did was callus like the bottom of that. So I'm thinking right at this point, you know, if I lop that off again, I'm taking the chance of maybe getting some rot or it just doing it again. I don't know. Hopefully this tree makes it, and I pull it out of the pot, and I'll take a look at it at that point and see if I can do anything with that. Just making sure I've got room around the edges. When I put out that next video and you see some of the pictures of these oaks, like I said, are absolutely, completely 100% growing in nature, pruned by weather, untouched by man. I gained a huge appreciation, and it also reminds me that maybe this isn't exactly how somebody would have put this, maybe a different angle. But they all have the potential to look pretty good no matter how you get them in there. But the people that are really good at this, they do have an eye for it, and it is definitely an art form, and it's something that I'm trying to learn. Looking at this video again, so with the chopstick, it really helps to drop that soil down into those roots. You can see the way it just kind of falls when you vibrate it down in there. Here's another example of watching these videos and how I think it's helping me. Now looking at this, yeah, I probably put it too low in the pot. Here I exposed all that trunk, and then I went and covered up a bunch of it. But there's some border collie hair. Always finding border collie hair. So you can see I am reusing some of my used soil. I had that big root dangling down there. It didn't make it into the planting. So now I gotta make some room for some moss, because I like moss. So again, I hope I didn't jump the gun on this repotting. But I really wanted to get these trees out of those big tubs and get them into something that, was more of training style pots. And they've got those branches, they're kind of funky looking, but again, if you stick with this channel and check out this next video, you're going to see some trees and you're going to go, holy crap. those things would look awesome in a bonsai pot, and they break all the bonsai rules. And you know, sometimes I'm not even sure they're bonsai rules. I know there's shapes and styles that everybody sees as a typical bonsai, but you know, our rules are what we use on mature trees in landscape settings too. So there's the finished product. Yeah, I'm happy with it. I like that. I think it's got character. I just love the oak. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for those oak picks and that last valley oak. Take care.